The governor of Benue State, Samuel Otom, has again asked President Muhammadu Buhari to convene a national security dialogue over escalating insecurity in the land. And the constitutional amendment public hearings continue today with strong calls by eminent Nigerians on areas that could help solve Nigerian problems. We'll look at details into those tonight. It's a pleasure having you on board, everyone. Welcome to Politics Today, live on Channels Television. I'm Seun Okimbaloye. It is the midweek edition of the program, and I will be your pilot for the next 1 hour of this ride. I hope it won't be bumpy, but at the end of the day, I hope we'll get a headway on Nigeria's problems. But let's tell you that Governor Samuel Otom has again asked that President Muhammadu Buhari should convene a national security dialogue over escalating insecurity in the country. Take a listen to the governor.
Completely, it is unfortunate. These killings are unwarranted. If government were ready to listen to superior ideas and advice and were proactive, it is unfortunate. I'm part of government. I can't run away from it. So I can equally say that we have failed as a government, because the primary responsibility of any responsible government is to provide security for lives and property. If there is no security, nothing meaningful can thrive. There can be no development. Nobody will create industries or bring his investment to put in Nigeria where people will be gainfully employed. No economic activities can go on. Everybody will be afraid, and that is what is happening. So it is really unfortunate. My senior special assistant on special security, retired AIG Dega, served with me here. And this is someone who has retired but is not tired and is still active. And so for him to have been murdered in the manner that he did, a retired AIG gone, then Professor Obiora, can you imagine a whole professor just killed in that manner? And look at what is happening. Northeast, northwest, north central, south-south, southeast, southwest. So where is Nigeria again?
Before we get into today's conversation, because we will unearth some of this problem, look at the cause and seek for the solution, let's check out some of your political roundup stories.
The Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, appears to be calling Twitter's rules into question in his reaction to an action taken by Twitter today, deleting the president's tweet as it cited violation of his rules. Twitter deleted President Buhari's tweet where he issued a threat to troublemakers in the southeast while making reference to the civil war. Addressing the media after the Federal Executive Council meeting chaired by President Muhammadu Buhari, the Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, accuses Twitter of conveniently ignoring other inciting tweets as he asks if Twitter, which now cites a violation of his rules, had deleted violent tweets by Nnamdi Kanu and other Twitter users during the NSAS protest.
Twitter's mission in Nigeria is very suspect.
It appears the different factions of the People's Democratic Party in Kano State are reuniting for a common cause. Today, 3 of the 4 recognized political camps in the state have agreed to forge a common front. The aim of their unification is to strategize to win the national vice chairmanship seat of the Northwest geopolitical zone and subsequent general elections.
We want to organize and reform the PDP so that we can deliver PDP to the national level.
Ahead of the 2022 local government elections in the Federal Capital Territory, aggrieved members of the All Progressives Congress are calling on the leadership of the party to obey the rule of law by withdrawing the list of substituted candidates submitted to the Independent National Electoral Commission.
The names that was released by the party faithful, but the leadership of the party is contrary to result obtained. at the polls.
The Cross River State Governor, Professor Ben Ayade, has called for an end to the factionalization in the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC. Speaking at an integration dinner with APC stakeholders in Calabar, the governor explained that the only way the APC in Cross River State can prosper is by putting the past behind it and create a new focus and a new opportunity that will guarantee everyone to sit at the same table.
Why do you want to fight? Why do you have to use a bullet when a handshake can do it?
The Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, says the security challenges experienced in Imo State cannot be tackled by government alone without community participation and partnership with the traditional institution in the state. Governor Uzodinma disclosed this at a strategic meeting organized by the government with stakeholders and traditional rulers from the different local government areas of the state to discuss how to tackle the security challenges facing the state and other areas where the local government and communities need government support.
Assist government manage the problem of insecurity in Imo State.
Let's hit the road, shall we, everyone? The House of Representatives today continued the public hearing on the Constitution Amendment, and grey areas are highlighted yet again by those who made presentations, those calling for a thorough alteration of the document in view of the nation's problems. Tonight, we'll be speaking with one of my guests who feels the Constitution Amendment is not necessary. A few days ago, leaders of several ethnic groups warned the federal government to urgently start the process for a new constitution as against the ongoing constitution amendment process. The groups took the position at an inter-ethnic dialogue on the 2023 presidential election, asking the government to consider going into the 2023 general election with a new constitution. My guest is one of the leaders at that conference. Chief Ayo Adebanjo is the leader of Afenifere. He's our guest tonight, and he joins us from Lekki area of Lagos. Thank you, Pa Adebanjo, for joining us tonight on the program. And let's begin the conversation, and let me get your view on a matter that generates lots of reactions and debates. It is what President Buhari said yesterday. The president speaking about those perpetrating violence in the country. Quote, he said, "Those of us in the fields for 30 months who went through the war, we treat them in the language they understand. We are going to be very hard sooner than later." End of quote. Chief Adebanjo, what's your view on that?
It's a very unfortunate statement from the president of a democratic country. I was very sad when I heard it. When I was informed, I thought it couldn't be. But I am not surprised. It is those of you who voted for Buhari in 2015 that should be amazed. I warned you then that this man is a dictator. He is born a feudalist, he is trained as a dictator, and he has no rule for he has no respect for the rule of law. My dear, let us all realize the fact that the problem in this country today against unity and peace is President Buhari. He is not on the same place with those of us looking for the unity and peace of this country. Take for instance, all those who voted for him, he stated in that statement that he told the 36 states. Did he tell the 36 states to say that he's going to oppress them? Did he tell the 36 states promising them that there's going to be diversion in the rule of law, in the administration of the country? In the north, the insurgency and the insecurity is so vast. In Kaduna, in Zamfara, in Sokoto, in Katsina is no state. He has not arrested or blindfolded the emir of those places. But I just received a video about 10 minutes ago where he blindfolded a national ruler in Ogoni. In the national regalia. Two standards of ruling in this country by the president who said he loves the country. And each time, those who love the country tell the please, there's a solution to this problem. Do this. He pretends not to listen.
Yeah.
The one he wants to listen to are the youth of the country who are tired of the deceit. That is our problem. So any language you are using, you are just deceiving yourself. And particularly you pressmen, don't allow him to change the narrative. He's talking of the unity he's going to teach them. Can a democratic government president be talking of teaching his subjects who voted him into power, that's going to teach them the lesson that the practice during the war? We are in peace time. What reconciliatory statement has emerged from him? And when I say this man has a private agenda, and the agenda is to wipe out those of us who are not Fulanis, what is he doing?
So, Chief Adebanjo, those are strong allegations. I mean, because you know we are on a national television, and you're talking about the president of the Federal Republic here, because I mean some of the claims you are making, one will wonder what are the evidence to it. But let's go to the issue of the National Conference Amendment.
Oh,
you have repeatedly.
Suddenly.
So let me ask you, you have repeatedly said that the Nigerian Constitution is a fraud, but you disagree with the process of amending it. What do you suppose could be the best way to fix it?
Let me correct you first, sense. All the allegations I've made against the president, I have evidence. If you are prepared to listen. Yeah, I have evidence. I am old enough in this country to substantiate every allegation I make. I have been in this struggle before many of them were born, and when some of them were in school, including Buhari himself. How can you be telling me that the man is doing the same thing when I campaigned for him in 2007? All this deceit, pretending not to hear what people are saying, and then you still continue to listen to him, and you be advised by advisors who will not give him the right legal advisor. Yeah, the whole of the South say they want dialogue. The people you are accusing say they want dialogue.
Yeah, well, Chief Adebanjo, what the point I'm making is that the point I'm making here is the #1 citizen of the country, and we are on a national television, and the fact that you as an elder statesman in this very difficult period that we are in as a country, we need those words that will unite us, not those ones that may divide us, and that's why I was asking that we probably will be careful with the use of language. But the question, I like it because I know as a lawyer, and your experience is very vast in this area, you have criticized this issue of constitution amendment. What is the best way, in your view, to fix it?
We cannot amend a constitution we don't make. Sheung, get this down clear. Those who of us are talking with people from it, what do we say? We say this constitution is a fraud. Let them dispute that. Let Malami say that. We say it is not our constitution. That's where you begin from. Is the constitution our own? When we say we, the people of Federal Republic, did we make the constitution? Are we federal? Did we make the constitution? False. Are we federal? False. It was imposed upon by the military. That's a fact. And I said earlier, if the man loves the country, it is what the military came that you impose this constitution. And the people are now saying, when you are now sending us back to civilian regime, send us back to the constitution where you met us. And it is significant. You must know this. And I continue to repeat it. That is why you should address yourself. Why should President Buhari find it difficult when we say go back to the constitution of our founding fathers, the constitution made by Saudana, the constitution made by Idabda Azikwe, the constitution made by Jaffe Awolowo? What is the problem there? If you say you don't understand what is restructuring, I say that is restructuring. He has not answered it. And Shehu Sani and Badeshino will not address that. They now come and tell you fake news. Address the issue. That's what I'm saying. When you say what is because the people are still talking.
I wanted to know
dialogue is the institution.
Okay, so because I mean you're tending towards an overhaul of the constitution, but does the present ground norm envisage such a scenario, or how exactly, in the view of the legal framework we currently operate, can we maneuver to a process of overhauling the present constitution?
That is where you all make a mistake. Don't allow the president to change the narrative. What is the ground norm? We say we don't know the ground norm. The ground norm is false, not our own. The ground norm you can only bind us to is the 1963 Constitution. Can you deny the fact that it was the military that imposed it? Absalom confirms it. That is the issue. Don't divert it. Whenever you direct us to this Constitution and to the National Assembly, which is a problem by itself, which is a beneficiary of this false constitution. This assembly is created by this false constitution, which you say we don't know. Are you now forcing it on us? Those are the issues you address to. Don't go along to say the president want to do this. The question is clear, except to somebody who doesn't want to act. We said this constitution is not our own. Let him deny that. Let Malami come and tell us it's our own. Where did we make it? Let Malami tell us this is a federal constitution under where you are going. Those are the issues. Until you address yourself to the issues and not allow yourself to be diverted by the answer of legal men, then we know where we are going. So each time you tell us the government want to do this, the ground norm, which ground norm?
It does look like you want
the
Republican.
That is what all the people in this country are saying. That is why we are asking for a dialogue. If you don't want this 1963 Constitution, let us sit down. You now want to amend the Constitution you impose on us. In the Constitution we don't know anything about. So that is what you journalists explain to people. You are the fourth estate of the realm. That is the issue. All of that thing you are talking about doesn't come in. The issue we are standing for, and those who are advocating back to federalism, is the fact the Constitution negates what we agreed to at independence. The answer should have been no, you are wrong. That's what you agreed to. And now we give you a leeway. If you believe that Constitution is not right, let us sit down and make your own. If you believe there's something wrong in this Constitution, Saldana make, our law make, bring it out and pinpoint what breaks the Constitution.
Okay, so let me quickly throw this in. You're one of those who have had conversations with people who have similar opinion to this issue of 1963 Constitution, the Republican Constitution. So in this sense, I'm just practically thinking now because, and I'm wondering what is on the minds of those who are in the political leadership of this country, how they hope to maneuver from here. So how do we change and move and transit into another constitution entirely? Do we sit down at another national conference? Because if I remember vividly, there was a 2014 confab. Are you thinking about another conference?
That is the position. My dear, don't let us bypass the question. Everybody has been talking about 2014. And when Jonathan was going to hand over to him, he said, this is the most important document. And Mr. President said he's putting in the archives. And then I asked him at that time, well, what is wrong with it? Tell us, we take it out. What do you want if we put in it? If that is not so, set up your own constitution for us to agree. You are now forcing us to amend the constitution. We say it is not our own. That is the question you should answer. That is what you address yourself to. It's not giving us, except you're going to say, except you accept my constitution, there's no way. We say this constitution you are asking us to amend is not our own. Let us sit down together and agree. What is wrong with that?
So let's look at it.
The government you appoint, your members of the party.
So you and your colleagues in the Ethnic National Conference that you had, you said we need to go into 2023 election with a brand new constitution. We just have about a year and a half to that election.
Exactly.
What kind of schedule or timeline can we be thinking if, for example, the president decides to take on that exercise of
in the proposal we made, we planned it out. We can do it before.
Please go ahead, sir.
If there is the will to do the right thing, there's plenty of time. And we set it out. Let the regions, as you said in our paper, meet and let us coordinate all their points. And that we all will agree with. The point you and others are missing, particularly as wrong, you don't see the point that they want to force their constitution on us. And we say no. But we don't want to force our own on you. We say let us meet and talk. You are not addressing that. Why is the government and Ansoro refuse to do that?
Who is going to convene that talking, that meeting? Who is going to convene it?
Together, not to force us.
Who is going to convene that meeting? The dialogue you're talking about.
There. If there is the man there, who conveyed the constitution? Who conveyed the constitution they imposed on us? Was that the ministry that just did by decree? Don't let us pretend who will do. If it's serious and sincere, all the members of the party say, let us have a dialogue. Can any democratic person refuse to have dialogue? Even when you are at war, you went at the table and let us talk. The man can negotiate with criminals. He cannot negotiate with those who they want self-government. Those who say you are oppressing us. There is room. The Gumi could see the bandits in the race, negotiate with them, get money, extort money from us. But your army can't go there. But you claim to be a propaganda, a good commander, who will just oppress those who are defenseless. What are we doing? Just unfortunate. Let us all address the truth. And I'm appealing to fellow Fulanis. But Buhari is following on his own. He's not carrying all the Fulanis. He's only blackmailing them. And let them be united and tell them, we are not opposed to them. And shall.
All right. So let
the people say, let the Fulani. No, so this is an important part. Don't let us rush out. Because the country is being misled. He went to Autumn. Autumn went to him. That these are the people who are molesting me. I know them. They wrote me a letter. It's on record. He went to him, come and save me. He said, go and make friends with your people. Those who are killing him. And all your governors, half of the country now is saying, let us have dialogue. If you people are sincere about advising him, why doesn't he listen to that? He's listening to those who say, no, you are deceiving us. All these people and other things talking about, they are tired of this lying. They are accusing us. But for the respect they have for me, they would have shot me. They said the restructuring is too late because this man is not doing the right thing. And we are asking them, you wait. If you do restructuring, we shall be together in peace. What more can we do? We have played the thing on the table. Everybody, we have united. We have agreed. If he's sincere about it, why has he not tried our own method? We have told him, look, if you do this thing, all this tension will come down. He's only doing those whom he can harass. And any same voice, he will blackmail.
Chifodobanjo, let me quickly throw this in. I wanted to ask you, because when you're saying in 2023 we need to go into that with a brand new constitution, if there is going to be a national dialogue, which you said the president should convene, what time of the year or what month of the year would you suggest that? Because the way and manner you discussed that, had that conversation in Abuja, it does look like something that is urgent. What month of the year would you suggest?
Yes. It is very urgent in view of the stability in the country. We must have a country first before we have an election. That's why I said this question of going to the National Assembly is just begging the issue. It's just to keep us talking and talking and saying, oh, it's too late now to do this thing, let's go to... This is the very thing Afenifere and Nadeko did. And we told Abubakar is still alive. We insisted then that we must have a sovereign national conference before we go to 1999 constitution. He said, alive, come and check it. And when we refused to contest the election, it was he who convinced our leader, Paradesoya, with your blessed memory, that when you have your civilian government, you can do it. That's where we are now. And we have gone, and he has been in office. Shehu, can you press, show on, can you press the fact, Mr. President, to the manifesto of the APC in 2015 that they are going to restructure? Can't you remind him that El Rufai in 2018 said they are going to restructure? If there is sincerity about keeping the country together in peace.
All right. Chief Adebanjo,
those are the issues you attend. Don't all the bike questions.
We're due for our commercial break, but I must sincerely thank you, elder statesman and leader of Afenifere. Thank you so much, Chief Adebanjo, for your time tonight.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you, sir. We take a break, and when we return, more on this subject, and we will hear from a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Senator Bukachuwa is in our Abuja studio. Don't go anywhere, everyone. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone, to the program. Let's get some other views on some of the issues we're discussing tonight. I'm being joined by Senator Adamu Bukachuwa, a member of the All Progressives Congress APC, representing Bauchi North Senatorial District in the National Assembly. Thank you so much, distinguished Senator, for joining us tonight. You heard what Chief Adebanjo said about the state of the nation, the Constitution Amendment. What are your reactions to that?
Thank you for having me on this program. I've listened, but I was wondering, is Ayo Adebanjo really in tune with what is happening in Nigeria today? He seems so obsessed with his feeling, or rather a very feeling, about the concept of one Nigeria, which has to be guided by the Constitution of the Federal Republic. But he seems to dismiss all that and consider that the Constitution is all fraud. How? How can we run such a Constitution? Obasanjo worked with that Constitution for 8 years. Between Yar'Adua and Goodluck Jonathan, they all worked with this Constitution. Where was he in this country? He never challenged the Constitution until now, because 2023 election is around the corner. So that's my view. I think he has lost touch with reality, and I think he cannot even differentiate between law and ethnic bigotry.
So, in your own view, because it disagreed with a few things in the manner in which some things are being done in the country, especially the political leadership of the country, I'd like you also to react to that part of the conversation.
Well, you see, whatever happens in this country, except the illegal things, except the violence, except for the Boko Haram and the other kidnappers and the rest of those hooligans that go about killing people, I think everything that is being done by the government, by the National Assembly, by the judiciary, is all constitutional. And lawyers are there to disagree. Wherever they see that something is done unconstitutionally, they can go to court. And the courts are there for them. And they prosecute cases. So I can't see how he would say things are not being done rightly. Everything is being done. The National Assembly is doing its job. We have to make laws, and we have to consider current and issues that lead to good governance. So what is his complaint? I can't even understand.
Let's focus now on the Constitution and the amendment process. So, for example, Senator Bukachuwa, give me your view on those who debate and said, this Constitution is not the people's Constitution. It was imposed on us by the military. And he says, we the people, and those who argue that there are no people, I mean, as it should be, the ethnic nationalities. Do you agree with that school of thought?
No, I don't, because, of course, I agree that maybe the Constitution was amended by several military administrations. I remember I was part of the 1994-95 Constitution Review Committee, or rather drafting committee. I was there, and I was an elected member then. And we drafted a constitution, and we were all civilians, except some few retired military men who contested election, and or some of them that were nominated by the then government of President General Abacha. But basically, we debated, and we are all civilians. Those of us who maybe know a bit of constitutional governance, and those who are just simple politicians, grassroots politicians, we all contributed and came up with a constitution, which was later slightly amended by a committee set up by General Abacha. And after his demise, General Absalami also came and amended the already amended one to suit his own purpose, to suit the purpose of his short administration. Then Obasanjo came under that same constitution. And Obasanjo amended a few things. And that is the nature of constitutions. As we practice it, as we work with it, we find some faults, and the sensible thing to do there is to amend those areas that are not properly put in place, and with the view of the majority of Nigerians. And Nigerians are not just a group of people that will come from nooks and corners. They are, the Nigerians that I'm talking about are those that are elected to represent the majority of Nigerians that are of voting age. So that constitution can be amended, and that's what the sensible thing to do. You never find a place where they throw away their constitution and say, let's start a new one. The only way that can be done is when you have a fresh military government, which in the first instance will suspend the constitution and then design their own. But in this case, we practiced this constitution for 16 years, now for another 6 years. That is about 20 plus years. So if during its use, we found that there are some clauses that are either obsolete or they don't protect the interests of the people, then certainly you get the opinion of generality of Nigerians, and then you take note of that, and we debate it in the National Assembly. There is no corner of Nigeria that is not represented in the National Assembly. So, I mean, it doesn't have to, we don't have to call every Nigerian, 200 million of us, to say, okay, ask each person to say, oh yes, tell us your view. And that is not practical. That's madness. So why are elections held? To represent the people. That's the meaning of parliament. So I think what we are doing is on the right track.
So we're seeing some insurgency in the northeast region of the country, banditry and kidnapping in northwest part of the country and in the north central region of the country. In the southeast, we're seeing arson, we're seeing killings and kidnappings. Some people have said, look, some of these agitations and the violence that we see are linked to agitations against the structure of this country and the manner in which the things are run, especially from the view of the Constitution. Do you agree that the agitations and some of the situation of the country are linked to the issue of the Constitution?
No, I think all this banditry, the agitations and killings and kidnappings are all prelude to 2023 election. I think there are some people who thought democracy is not good enough for them. So they want to devise their own means of belonging to this entity called Nigeria. And that if they don't have their wish, so let Nigeria go to pieces. I mean, is that anything that Constitution allows or Constitution encourages? So they are absolutely outside the realm of the Constitution. And they are just rebels, they are just arsonists, they are criminals in short. So what are we going to consider to even give them a chance to say, look, come and say your wish and let Nigerians bow and tremble before them and say, okay, we'll grant you your wish. Those insurgents in the southeast, they are all claiming that they want their own country called Biafra, right? And if that is the case, is that by killing people that they will get their country? They have tried it before. Do they want us to go back to the same route? I don't think so. But if they do, if that's what they choose, has Nigeria got any choice? Will we just allow them and bow and say, yes, we will grant you your wish by killing people? No. Nigerian government has to stand up and fight them and bring them to order.
So, I mean, what gives you the feeling that what is happening, the killings that we're seeing about 2023, could you throw some more light, shed light on what you just said, the pointers? What are those things that gives you that feeling? Or do you have any research that is linked to that? Shed more light on that.
No, you see, before this time, when they murder and they say there must be a presidency, we have to get together with a dialogue and that presidency has to be zoned. Is that democracy? Is that what the Constitution says? Why should presidency be zoned? Let it be for each political party to do whatever they wish in accordance with their own constitution. If they want to zone presidency to anywhere, let them do that, and let Nigerians judge. When they feel their candidates, Nigerians will judge. I thought the question of democracy is a game of numbers. When elections take place, the majority wins. The minority have to give up if they are being constitutional, if they are being abiding by the law. But if some people say either we get the presidency or the country go to pieces, then obviously everything was targeted towards the election.
So, because I asked earlier if you have, if you could tell us if there is anything, evidence to show that all of these violence and killings are about 2023 elections. Do you have any?
Well, look, I don't have to come up with a police report or record or intelligence report or record, but we have lived in this country and I have seen several elections from the one in 1960, which was conducted actually in 59. But you never see this kind of thing. And each time an election is approaching, within 2 years, you find one form of violence or the other. If you have not forgotten, the trouble that brought the first coup was started from the Western region, when there was trouble all over Lagos and neighboring states of Lagos. There were no states then, but it was the Western region. And that culminated into the coup of 1966. That was after the first election. So it's on record that these things have been recurring each time the election is approaching. So this cannot be different.
So, I mean, I look at it because there are different, you have the school of thought where you stand on the issue of whether or not we should leave the Constitution and amend it until we get it to a good point. And for those who say, oh, we don't want it, we need to overhaul. But is there anything wrong, Senator, for if Nigerians say, look, this is what we had, and it's not working for us, and we want to change it? Is there anything wrong with that stand? Do citizens have the legitimate power or right to say, it's not working, we need to change this document?
Of course, the Nigerian citizens have the right to even say we don't want a constitution, this type of constitution, and any type of Western constitution. We can devise our own, yes. But in the meantime, what do we work with? What do we work with up to the 2023 election? Or do you want a situation where constitution will be suspended pending the emergence of a new one, and then in the meantime, the whole political terrain and situation changes into something unknown, something unenvisaged? I mean, yes, we have the right to say we don't want this constitution. But if we follow the norms of democracy, every country has an initial constitution and they keep changing it, amending it from time to time. And you can ask lawyers, they always quote amendments, so, even in the United States, where we borrowed this current constitution. Yes, we can do that. But how many people really in Nigeria are asking for a brand new constitution? Only those who are vocal minority, they are the ones asking. I represent a group of people, and in that area, I am telling you, they are for this constitution to be amended as and when necessary.
So quickly, before we move into issues relating to security and the state of the nation, I'd like you to just briefly give us your view on this. What guarantee can Nigerians get that this exercise, this constitutional amendment process, will lead us to somewhere that will gladden or resolve our problems? I remember listening to one of the presentation asking that what we're operating presently, Nigeria cannot bear it any longer, that we need a unicameral legislature, and that we should reduce the number of the lawmakers in the National Assembly, which of course, that is your area where you operate. Do you agree with that?
Look, I am for, if we are going to be honest and sincere with ourselves, we can even go back to a parliamentary system whereby all members must be elected, the Prime Minister must be elected, and his ministers must also be elected. Unlike now, where all ministers were not elected, some of them don't even have a constituency, because nobody knows them in their area. They were just appointed by Mr. President at his own leisure. So I don't mind going back to a parliamentary system, but If that is what Nigerians generally want, I will vote for it.
Let's go into the issue of security. The military is overstretched, obviously, because they have operations in at least 34 states of the 36 states of the country. Police numbers are inadequate. We have less than 400,000 policing about 200 million people. It does look like the situation might be overwhelming. In fact, some people are already asking that Nigeria should seek foreign help. What do you make of the situation in the northeast and in the northwest region of the country? The insecurity situation is getting to a worrisome level.
Yes, the northeast insurgency has been there with us for 12, 30 years. Yes, but the federal government, from the time of Mayor Adua and Goodluck Jonathan, has been doing their best with the resources they had at their disposal. And actually, this kind of war is not the conventional type of war. Actually, it shouldn't involve the Nigerian army at all. The police should be able to deal with it. But unfortunately, there were not enough police people there, police officers, to deal with this matter because they are too inadequate. Now, there was a time we advised Mr. President to engage, to recruit about 30,000 more policemen. And the exercise had started, and there was a rift between the Nigeria Police, the Inspector General side, and the Police Service Commission. And the Act creating Police Service Commission and the law and the Constitution, they disagreed between them about the provisions of the Constitution and the Act. And each one of them is claiming that recruitment and training is their own. Whereas the Police Service Commission also says, oh yes, recruitment should be our own. And when we recruit and train them, we'll hand them over to you, Inspector General. And up to now, that exercise has never been completed, despite what is going on. There is an obvious need for more police, but this thing has not been resolved. They even went to court to resolve the issue. And that is the provision of the Constitution. The National Assembly cannot dictate or decide and say, look, all of you stop and we will decide for you. We have to wait for the law courts to decide. And up to this moment, the decision has not been done. So I agree. But in terms of provision of finance for the military to do their job, I think Mr. President has done all that is possible within the limits of the pocket of the federal government. The aircrafts that were ordered from America are not like kitchen knives that you can go to the market and buy. These aircrafts have to be manufactured specially for Nigeria. And they are in the process now. And people have been saying, oh, they lack money, they lack capital, they lack equipment. Yes, the equipment are being manufactured. There are no places in the world where you can go and buy ready-made planes of that nature. Nobody. Any country you go to, whether it's US or Russia or China or whichever country that manufactures such planes, you have to order. And you have to wait for the order to mature. And they produce them and deliver. So why are people in a hurry?
Perhaps because people are dying, I guess that's the reason why people are anticipating and in a hurry to see a solution. But just to wrap up the conversation, yes. Senator, As a member of the ruling APC, your party was received first in 2015 with sort of votes that it got in a massive way. It was an enormous support your party got. In 2019, considering the figures INEC announced, it was also an enormous support your party got. Do you suppose that your party may have lost that kind of steam that it had in 2015?
Well, you see, when APC won in 2015, of course, don't forget, they displaced a ruling party. And you don't expect them, the ruling party then, to just take it lying down. They have to do whatever they can to regain their popularity, to regain their position as party in power. And this exercise takes different forms, not necessarily just propaganda. It takes other forms. So if APC has lost some members due to the pressure and propaganda of opposition or some dissatisfaction within the party members too, who were expecting much, and they didn't get that much, well, that is natural. But then, why don't we cool down and wait for 2023 election to see what will happen? Obviously, 2023 would determine whether APC is still popular or it's not. And that will also show whether APC will field a popular candidate or not. So these are questions that can only be answered when we get to 2023.
And just briefly, Senator, if you can tell us, what in your own view is the best zone or the place to, the zone of the country to zone the presidency in 2023?
I don't even believe in zoning. I believe that the right candidate should be fielded by all the parties, and then let Nigerians choose the best among them. And those that have the number who believe in the same candidate will obviously win. Unless you don't want that, and which is against the norms of democracy, then I don't know, you can devise your own means. But I don't believe zoning is democratic. I don't believe zoning will produce the best president for the country.
Senator Adamu Bukachuwa, Senator representing Bauchi North in the National Assembly and the Senate Chairman on Foreign Relations, thank you indeed for your time tonight.
Thank you very much too.
And that's our show for today, everyone. Many thanks for watching. I'm Seun Okinbaloye. Bye-bye.